listening to the Love Unplugged podcast, episode 47. Today on Self Saturdays, I am diving into my personal experience and adjustment to a new normal with COVID-19. It hasn't been an easy road, which I know many feel the same, but it has taught me more about myself and what is actually important in my life. I hope what I share helps you, even in a small way, to navigate the unknown we're currently experiencing. So grab yourself a cup of organic tea and let's get personal. You are listening to Love Unplugged, a podcast focused on love in all its forms. I'm your host, Jessica Frigon, hopeful romantic and founder of Project Love. I found that too often love is set aside or taken for granted, and we tend to forget how to care for ourselves and our important relationships in the day-to-day chaos. So let's slow down, tune in, and begin our journey of rediscovering love. From honest heart-to-heart conversations with real couples and knowledgeable guests to deep dive reviews of new products and services that will help you feel beautiful inside and out. If you're looking for relatable advice or wanting to be inspired by real-life love stories, you've come to the right place. Without further ado, let's get to it. Hello, loves. I am so happy to have you here with me for my very first episode of Love Unplugged's new series called Self Saturdays. Before I dive into the episode itself, I want to talk about Self Saturdays and what you can expect. So I was inspired to create Self Saturdays because I feel so many of us, myself included, are so busy during the week to take time to reset, slow down, and invest in ourselves. Saturday mornings are super special to me because it is the one morning I avoid work and just take time for me. Whether it is sleeping in if I need it, waking up early, sitting quietly looking outside, reading, or taking a long shower with a good podcast. And I usually get outside for a bit in the mornings as well, which I love. So I'm hoping to encourage this with all of you, to take time for yourself. So on these episodes, you'll be hearing from me only. So these are going to be solo shows, which I'm super nervous about because it's just me talking and it's personal, which some of you may know I don't like sharing a lot of personal stuff about myself. But I will be getting personal and sharing all my experiences and what I am learning on my own journey. Whether it's about goal setting, creating a plan to go after my goals, pivoting or redefining my passion, which I seem to always be doing as I learn more about myself. But I will also be sharing what I'm experiencing on a deeper level. So the fears, the limiting blocks that I'm navigating that are surfacing because I'm constantly pushing myself in that uncomfortable zone, how I'm finding and creating more harmony and alignment in my life, which I know we all kind of struggle with when we're trying to balance life and work. But most importantly, how I'm deepening the connection I have with myself through my self-love practice and what that looks like for me and how that evolves as I'm getting to know myself better. So with these episodes, I am challenging myself to avoid any edits. So I had a podcast interview a while ago, and the individual I was interviewing mentioned to myself, because most of her episodes are all solo shows, that she actually refuses to edit her episodes, and it helps her show up real, authentically herself with, all the ums, buts, the stumbles, all that. And it helps her just feel more confident with herself. So I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to show up, flaws and all, my true self, all the ums that I do, the rambles included. And I want this to feel as though we are sitting on a couch together with a cup of tea and just chatting as if we're old friends. So here we go. So COVID-19 has definitely been a big change for me. I don't deal well with changes in my routine just because my routine is so jam-packed throughout the week. I am going from one thing to another, and it's been like that for so long. So when I do change things up, it's a big adjustment period for me. And everything happened with COVID-19, I feel, in 1 week, where everything just shifted dramatically. And 1 week I was working my full-time job at work. I had the night job at night. I had the podcast and the blog and blah, blah, blah. And then on the Sunday, I get a message from my boss saying, we're packing up the office, everybody needs to work remotely, and bam, that was it. So many of you, if you don't know, I do have a daytime job where I am an operations manager for a sales company. And then I do have a night job where I work with my family on a cleaning contract for an office that we've had for like 25 years. Which is really good income. So it just helps support my family and whatnot. So we've never let go of that just because it is a good contract. And then I have this podcast and this blog. So having that change within that 2-day period, really, of going from working every day in an office 7:30 to 4:30 with a whole team and being in that type of environment and having a break from home and whatnot, to now being stuck at home every day was a big change for me. So that happened. And then within about, I would say, a week and a half, unfortunately, our contract, obviously because they were also going to be working from home, suspended our services, which is totally understandable and we're totally fine. That's okay. But again, that is taking away my going out and having my routine and getting out of the house. So now I'm housebound, which I should be because we're self-isolating, but that's a very dramatic change for me, all in a period of basically a week and a half max, of now just being at home all the time, and my routine is completely flipped upside down. So long story short, I really struggled with this. I had days where I had no idea what I was doing anymore. I felt very alone and seconded and just disconnected from everyone, even though we had a very good structure set up with the team to do a lot of video calls and whatnot. But what made it really worse for me was the fact that the news and all the social media was really, really heavy on the COVID updates every day. And even our business, because we had to drastically adjust to what we were doing in the business itself for my day job, we had to talk about COVID regularly. So first thing in the morning, it was like updates of what we're doing, what's new, how we need to adjust. So it was constantly being thrown in my face in that week and a half period as well. So that was really hard for me to keep all my emotions kind of sorted. I felt very, very scared and fearful for my job, for my health, for my family's health, because they were high risk, both my mom and my brother, what we were going to do if we weren't allowed out of the house to get groceries, things like that. And I found myself even like during my day job when we were having conference calls and stuff, just tears were just coming down. It was a ridiculously emotional week and a half. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of moments of just breaking down and crying because it was just so much overwhelm in that period. And I tried to sit with those feelings. I let them happen because I think it's super important to allow yourself to feel whatever you are feeling. You never want to bottle things up, because as soon as you start doing that, those emotions manifest into illnesses or other things as well. So you want to feel them and let them kind of come out and be released through however you need to release. So for me, I need to cry and then I take a nap and I'm good to go. So I felt like the first week and a half was all over the place. It was a shit show. I'm not going to lie. I was a mess. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know if I was coming or going. I was basically just kind of scrambling at work, just trying to stay up with all the changes and making adjustments to all our processes and whatnot so that we could keep up with everything. So it was really, really a nightmare for me. So, I mean, that first week and a half, I got nothing really out of it. Like, I wasn't productive the way that I felt I should be. It was more so an adjustment period to just working everything out and letting everything just settle internally and readjusting to a new normal for me. But then it started to shift in the second week. And I feel like after that adjustment period, I was able to kind of take a step away that weekend and really kind of analyze, okay, where am I at now? What do I need to be doing? How can I set myself up so that I'm no longer feeling and dealing with things the way that I have been, which was not productive in any way for me, so that I can continue to show up for my work. I can continue showing up for the blog and the podcast, and I can feel better internally with whatever is going on at that time. So I took the weekend to really adjust to that. I disconnected from a lot of social media. I just kind of sat with myself. I took a lot of me time quietly and whatnot. I did journal a bit. I'm not great at journaling just because there's a whole other thing, which we'll get into a whole other episode for that. But I am trying to put my thoughts to paper and getting myself organized emotionally and mentally on paper. But what I realized is I needed to make a plan because my routine was so upside down. I needed structure in order to continue going. So what I did is I took a piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote down what was super important to me so that I knew exactly what I needed to focus on for the week and for each day. So what was really important to me was that I get some form of movement in, whether it was just stretching a bit or finding out what classes were available, any YouTube videos that I really liked that would get me going. I took down a list of the books that I wanted to read. I made a list of the meals that I wanted to eat, when I was going to work, what hours I was going to be putting into the blog and the podcast, just kind of outlining exactly what I needed to do and leaving lots of room in my schedule for time to just sit with myself, to take a break if I needed it that day and not feel like, oh crap, I have so much to do today that I've scheduled for myself. I can't allow myself to have a break today, which is totally the wrong thing you need to do. You need to allow some flexibility in your schedule so that you're able to take that break without having the guilt and the stress or the pressure to continue and push through it if you just feel you can't and you shouldn't at that time. So I left it very, very open, but I had my criticals in my schedule. So what that looked like for me is what I really liked was bar class. There was some other stretching videos that I liked as well. So I got those all ready for myself, and I'm going to be starting that this week coming. So I'm starting Monday. So I've gotten that all organized now for myself. I've made sure to start putting in a better morning routine and a better evening routine, which because of my schedule before, I've never had, and I'm not going to lie about that, I've never had a good morning or evening routine that's really stuck every single day. So I do a good routine on the weekends and whatnot, but because I work so much during the week, it's very kind of get up, get ready, go to work, or come home from work, get ready for bed and go to bed type thing. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in there just because of my schedule. So what I started doing is in the morning when I wake up, I take my time to wake up now. I wake up a little bit earlier than necessary, and I go make myself a cup of tea. I get myself breakfast. I will sit quietly for a little while. I will catch up on the news for maximum 5 minutes, just because I think it is important to stay up to date with what is going on. But that is it. I check for about 5 minutes in the morning to see what I need to know. There's a website that says what you need to know today for COVID, and that is it. I don't check again until the next morning. I feel like that's relieved a lot of the fear and the stress that I've been experiencing lately. And then I will start work. During my break, because I'm at home now, I will do some movement during my break. So that's helped a lot to kind of break up my work day and to stretch it out and to get up and whatnot and have a really good nutritious lunch after. And then after work, so now that I'm done my day job, I make sure to just unwind. So I will either take a little nap just because my brain is very much drained and overwhelmed at that point. And then I will have a good dinner. I will do some podcasting or blogging tasks. And then I will stop for about 8:30. I will take a nice hot bath with some bath salts. I'll either put on a show or take a book with me into the bath, and I will just sit there and force myself to sit there for at least 30 to 40 minutes until the water starts to get a little warm and not hot anymore. So I hate baths. I'm not going to lie, but this time that I've had to just kind of sit there and unwind has actually been really, really great. And I'm starting to enjoy them a lot more. So just taking that time now to reset quietly with a book or even a good show at the end of the day has really been helping me just kind of unwind and get mentally prepared for the next day. So once I'm done my bath, I will put on some essential oils in my room and I will go to bed early. So I'm probably in bed for like 9:30, I would say, and I try to get a good 8 hours of sleep, which I've never had in so many years so much sleep, and I am just loving it so much. So that's kind of what I've been doing up until this point, and that routine is definitely going to evolve and adjust as I get more comfortable with this new normal that we're experiencing. So what I kind of recommend to everybody, based on what I've learned about myself and everything that I've put in place so far that's helped me navigate this new normal, is avoid the media as much as possible. If you need to stay up to date, like I feel I need to, do it for 5 minutes a day, catch up, 5 minutes, done, move on, and don't check it again for a while. Stay off of social media as much as possible. I feel like for the first week, I got down rabbit holes quite fast, just because I had so much more time to myself, and it's not productive time. And you know that social media doesn't always bring out the best emotions or feelings sometimes. So you definitely want to avoid that. Create a list of what you want to accomplish in your week. So your criticals of what you need to do. So whether it's exercising, whether it's cooking 5 healthy meals, making sure you're taking time to reset. So however you feel you need to do that, getting some movement in, things like that, whatever you feel is super important for your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual health, make sure that you write those down and you schedule them for the week. So one other point I also recommend is dedicating time each day to investing in yourself. So learning something that is going to help you. So what I've been doing is I'm going to be putting aside, 1 hour a day starting Monday to read a book, listen to a podcast that's going to help me navigate things that I'm experiencing or learning new things about myself. And that's going to be time that I'm investing in me. So I definitely encourage that. I know many of us have a lot more time to ourselves right now. So I think this is a good opportunity to take that time and turn it into something that is actually going to benefit us long term on so many levels. Another point is eating healthy meals. So I am dedicated to making healthier meals and focusing more on nutrition and eating with my family and spending that time kind of just focusing on that activity rather than rushing through it. And just it's helping me so much on so many levels to just be able to sit down, eat my food, and actually chew it properly and be there with my family and know that it's quality foods that are full of really good nutrients and they're organic and whatnot, but also learning how to cook, which has been nice because I definitely burn everything. So I am hoping to be able to learn some new skills out of this as well. Another point is taking vitamins and supplements. So we need to be healthy right now, obviously. So do not miss taking your vitamins and your supplements. Stay on top of that. It's super important. I take my primrose oil. I take a super multivitamin. I have vitamin D as well, vitamin C, probiotics, and then I take something for my adrenals because I do have struggles with my adrenals when I am pushing myself a little too hard, which I often do. So whatever you need, make sure that you are staying on top of that and putting reminders in your phone if you tend to forget, which I do all the time. So whatever you need to continue to remember to take them, do that. Drink lots and lots of water. So we are so fortunate to have clean drinking water here. One of the things that actually helped me remember that we're actually safe, we're okay, is the fact that we have food, we have clean water to drink, and we have homes. So we have a roof over our head. So really, in the all scheme of things, even though this is a very scary, unknown time, we are safe and we have everything that we need. We can just ride this out. The other point, like I mentioned, is create a solid morning and bedtime routine that is going to set yourself up for success. So whatever that looks like for you, that helps you be able to get through the day in great form, put that in place. So like I mentioned, I have my morning routine and my evening routine, which are vastly different than each other. Put something in place, adjust it as you need to, as you figure out what works and what doesn't work. But definitely get that going, because it's so easy to fall off the track when you're basically at home all the time. I mean, the first week, I'm not going to lie, I didn't change my pajamas for 3 days. I ended up wearing a blanket, which was kind of a scary point. I think at that point I was like, okay, something needs to be done here. The fact that I am now walking around wearing a blanket. So anyways, definitely create that morning and bedtime routine to get yourself up and going and ready to attack the day. Let yourself feel is my second or my ninth one, actually. So whatever you are feeling daily, allow yourself the time and the space to feel those feelings, whether it is joy, whether it is fear, whether you're feeling exhausted or drained or whatever it is, allow yourself to feel it, but have a tool in place or a practice in place to help you deal with it and come out of it. So you don't want to stay in that state for too long. You do want to feel it, but then you want to move out of it as well, so that you're not staying stagnant in that space. Connect with your friends is my 10th one. So I've been seeing so many people doing Zoom dates, which is just amazing. I've been connecting more with my friends than ever, which is hilarious. But honestly, nothing helps better than having a great conversation with your friends, seeing them, breaking up the day with a good chat, have a dinner date, have a wine date, have a dance party, whatever you need to do to have some fun, do that. So I think that's super important to stay connected with your loved ones, and then focus on the positive. So my 11th tip is there's a lot of scary stuff going on right now. But I think we need to collectively look at what is positively happening right now. So the earth is healing itself. The air pollution is clearing to a certain degree. If you look at a lot of pictures online, bodies of water are clearing up. Fish are returning. Like if you see the pictures in the canals of Venice, the water is clear, which it hasn't been in like forever. If you look at there's some, I forget what Instagram it was, but it's something about the earth, showing the earth and not the ozone, but the air quality for the entire earth and how it's dramatically improves before COVID, isolation all the way till now. And it's dramatically better, which I think the earth really needs based on everything that's been happening with all the climate change and whatnot. I think this is so important for the earth to have this little breathing room from everything, which I am more than happy to self-isolate for a month or 2 months to do that for the earth. The other positives that I focus on is this is a great opportunity to now redefine what your future looks like, right? So this has given me so much more time to focus on this podcast and this blog and, creating a plan on where I can take it so that I can start creating a business down the road from it. What does my future look like? What do I want it to look like? How am I going to get there? What are the steps that I need to take to get there? Taking time to invest in myself education-wise, which I haven't had a lot of time for. So now I'm able to read more books. I'm able to take this course that I just purchased, which is so awesome. I'm so excited for it. I've never had that time before. So this is such a good opportunity for that. And I think it's important to realize the good that's come out of this situation. Also, being stuck with your family at home. Yes, for some people, including myself, at times, you literally want to pull out your hair because they're driving you crazy. But bonding with your family, having true quality time together, spending time together, while they're watching movies, having movie nights, having dinner together, playing games, there's nothing like it. And I think at the end of the day, when everything else is gone, your family, your loved ones, is your relationships, whether with yourself or them, is probably the most important thing. So I'm so happy that we're being given this time to have that back and be able to spend that quality time together. So those are the positives that I try to remember. The other one that I think everybody is seeing, especially I'm noticing this on Instagram as well, is how much love and kindness this is bringing out in people, right? So people showing so much support for all those frontline heroes that are just really putting themselves at risk for us so that we're getting the healthcare that we need, we're getting the necessities that we need and whatnot. They're showing up every day, taking the chance to get this illness or this virus for us, which, the love and the support that is being shown for them is incredible. But also how we're all adapting so well to this new change. All the delivery options, everybody's showing up for each other. If they need necessities, people are going out to help them and get those things for them. There's just so much love and kindness being shown around the world to everybody that I think that's something to remember, that we're actually all in it together and we're all here to support each other through these difficult times. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So those are my tips for getting through this challenging time. And I hope my experience and what I've put in place in my life has helped. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope I haven't rambled too much. And I hope I have made a little sense. I definitely just kind of let myself freeform and talk it out. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. So stay tuned next Saturday for another episode. I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday morning, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend with yourselves, with your loved ones, and your friends. I'm Jessica, and thanks for tuning in today to Love Unplugged, the podcast. If there are any questions or topics you'd love answered on the show, head on over to www.projectloveco.com and share your request with me. If you haven't yet, go to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast and share it with a loved one. Your feedback means the world to me, and the community we've created is what fuels our discussions here. After all, this is all for you. Join me next time for another unplugged conversation.